Know about weekends at 8 on FTN.
He was the biggest pop star Britain produced since the Beatles.
To be famous was his only ambition.
No one did glam like Marc Bolan. He was the 70s king of kitsch, and he was dead at just 29 years old.
Marc Bolan was T-Rex. I mean, it was his idea. Without Marc Bolan, there was no T-Rex.
Other rock stars fell victim to a cocktail of drink and drugs. Bolan died the passenger of a Mini, which smashed into a tree.
I loved and still love him. He's gone, but this man was a part of my life.
Bolan's death was lurid, with rumours of lost wills, missing fortunes, and mysterious deaths.
When anybody dies young in this business, conspiracy theories grow up around their death.
But the truth is stranger than the myth. When Bolan's will was read, the elfin rocker who'd sold millions was broke. All that glittered was not gold, or so it seemed. Where had his fortune gone? It's the mystery many of his family and friends are still trying to answer. Who got Marc Bolan's missing millions?
The Marc Bolan promo record label poster, £100. Nice round number.
Today, Marc Bolan still sells. From his sequin socks to his studio demos, everything has a price.
Photograph of Marc Bolan signed on the reverse, £260.
Infectious, timeless, the best of Bolan's music has endured. After 25 years, the royalties continue to roll in.
I regard the catalogue as very valuable. It's a steady turnover of in the region of $250,000 a year for just the publishing aspect.
As a teenager, Bolan boasted that he would be the biggest rock star in the world. By 1977, Bolan was a veteran superstar. With a new TV series in the can, a young son, he had everything to play for.
Keep a little mark in your heart and watch the same Marc time, same Marc channel.
Marc Bolan's last night was happy. His TV show was a success, and his partner, Gloria Jones, had just returned from America.
I would have described it as a celebration, because Marc was very happy that I was home. I was happy to be home.
The party finished in the early hours, but on this night, Bolan's usual driver was not available.
Why didn't we take the taxi? You know, I mean, you can just go on and go on and go on.
Bolan owned a Rolls-Royce, and yet the only car available was a Mini, driven by his partner, Gloria Jones.
Marc never drove. He never drove because I think he had this feeling that he would die in a car.
You're looking at 45 minutes of driving without any problems. And I believe that sometimes in life it's just a victim of circumstance.
Marc Bolan was only half a mile from his home.
Bolan died in the passenger seat of a purple Mini when it hit a tree on a narrow road 2 minutes to 5 this morning. His girlfriend in the driving seat, Gloria Jones, suffered a fractured jaw. He leaves a 20-month-old son by her, Roland.
He was just weeks away from his 30th birthday.
When anybody dies young in this business, whether it's Jim Morrison or Janis Joplin or Keith Moon or Brian Jones, conspiracy theories grow up around their death.
Many mysteries would emerge after Bolan's death. The most compelling was the reason for the crash itself.
The car would have been roughly at right angles to this tree. It struck the tree about here, literally thrown off right across the road at right angles. On impact, the tree had intruded into the car about this far. It had pushed the whole vehicle back, buckled the floor pan, pushed the passenger seat back, and I actually found traces of hair on this spring clip at the back.
When police examined the Mini in more detail, suspicions were aroused.
2 of the 4-wheel nuts, one was only finger tight, and one could be turned 4 hand turns until it actually tightened up.
The front wheel would have wobbled, and the tyre pressures were dangerously low.
Certainly, in my opinion, with regard to the tyre pressures and the looseness of the wheel nuts, then the vehicle really is in a dangerous condition.
Yet the car had been serviced only 2 days before.
There's something a little bit amiss somewhere, and I don't think anybody has solved the mystery now.
The inquest put the cause of death as a tragic accident. It left many questions unanswered, but the real mysteries were only just beginning. Soon after Bolan died, there were unexplained break-ins at his house.
I mean, sometimes happens in these cases, the vultures arrive after someone's death and things mysteriously disappear that might be worth money.
I went into Mark's house at Upper Richmond Road. There was a range of guitars there. What struck me the most is I went to identify Mark at the hospital, and by the time I got back, the guitars had gone. And nobody could say or would say where they went.
To Marc Bolan's family, the biggest mystery of all came with the reading of the will. Bolan left thousands on paper, to his parents and to the women he loved. Even his producer and his manager were not forgotten. But for a man who appeared to have made millions, he was in fact worth a mere £10,000. The Bolan estate was worthless.
I can't believe that's possible. I mean, just from the amount of record sales alone, how can that be possible?
I think there's a bit of a mystery about where some of Mark's money went at the end of the day, and who has it, and where it is stuck.
How was it possible that Bolan could leave virtually nothing in his will? Was it a cruel joke? Or a mistake? Or worse?
Party looking for other people, but then we saw